Hi everyone, and welcome again to These Days. And this week our favorite guest is back from last week, Cindy Miller, Sacred Messenger, and she's going to be talking a little bit about living an abundant life. And you know, people, we really want to do this. This is something we can achieve, right, Cindy? And welcome again.
Thanks for having
Cindy
me
Miller.
back.
Last week we talked about living a balanced life.
Yeah.
How to stay balanced in life, and we brought out many of the items that we can do to keep balanced. We can, stay focused on on ourselves. We can put ourselves as a priority. We can eat right. We can exercise. We can keep our minds focused on joy, calm, and abundance. And today we're going to talk about living that abundant life, and we're going to be able to do it in these times as we have a lot going on right now in our world, right, Cindy? We have unemployment, we have economic crises, we also have our family and friends that we love dearly, and many of them are experiencing change in their lives on their journey as they go through life that we all go through. And I'm going through, and maybe you are right now, in terms of where we're going. But we have to trust that we're going to get there. And Cindy and I were just speaking about it before the program started. So Cindy, what is the definition of an abundant life? What does abundance mean?
I think that's up to an individual. That's a very personal question.
Okay.
For you, it could be an abundance of friends. It could be an abundance of money. An abundance of salt and pepper shakers. I mean, it's what do you feel abundant in? It's a choice. It's a choosing to you of what your definition is and what you define as an abundant life.
Okay, that's interesting. So that means each and every one of us can have our own definition of what brings abundance into our life. So how do we, in this day and age, bring more abundance into our life, depending on whatever it is that we're looking for, right?
Yes.
As an abundance of, it could be good health, eating right, surrounding yourself with uplifting people. How do we bring more abundance into our lives?
I think one of the first things that we need to do is pay attention to what we're focusing on. What's up here? What kind of thoughts do we have going on in our mind? I think it's very defeating if we come from a point of view of lack, of there is not enough, I'm going to be left out, I never get a break. You know, it's more of this victim mentality. It is like, I am not empowered, I have no control, I don't have choice.
Yeah.
And I think abundance is also tied into worthiness and feeling of self-deserving, that I am worthy and self-deserving of having this. It's very much it's very much a mental walk as much as a spiritual walk as well.
And that's true. And I think it all originates, as we were saying, up here.
Yes.
So mind over matter, mind over our, mind over body. We have to have that positive energy flowing through us, even in times that are not good,
Right.
which we all face. So, and then to bring this abundance in, we have to know what we want.
Right.
So we have to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
First. So why can't people figure out what they want sometimes? And they could go through their whole lives and not know it.
Because I just think that they don't take the time out to discern and get to know themselves. I think they get so caught up in the hustle bustle of the day, of the week, of the month, and they just don't contemplate, they don't meditate, they don't ponder, they don't look at the deeper picture at times. And I think when they slow down and take a moment and pause and look through a different lens, through a bigger perspective, through a different perception, things radically change in your life.
So with that in mind, then we need to really focus on that and think about keeping ourselves more positive, thinking that we're deserving of things and that we can achieve it. So what if you're thinking those things and you're walking down your path and you're not maybe employed at the moment or whatever it is in your life that's happening? What if you can't see anything happening?
Okay, good.
What do you do?
Okay, that's a good question. Now, for me, first of all, I want to like go back again a little
All
bit,
right.
as that I'm a very God-based person as far as spiritually. That's truth for me. That's knowledge. That's wisdom. That's creator. That's everything in my life, and I feel in all of our lives. And we are never alone. And being that God is the center of our lives when you have Him in your life, is to lean on Him and know that He knows exactly where you are. He knows what your past has been. He knows current moment. He knows future direction for you. But are you going to choose to rely on Him and work with Him and co-create with Him and have a relationship and trust Him that He will get you to exactly where you need to be?
So that is very powerful, but what if and I firmly believe that, and I think that all of us, not all of us, but maybe many of us on this planet believe in that, whether you call it a creator or a higher power, God,
Right.
whatever the universe.
Right.
There's something higher or greater than us, and that we're hardwired, that's how I feel,
Right.
to it.
Right.
And so that we might come and go from it. We might not look to it because
Right.
it's not a tangible.
Right.
I'm not, talking
Yeah.
to you right
Yeah.
here, the creator of the universe. But so if that's the case, there are people that don't feel that there is anything greater. They too want to have an abundant life. So if they're not connected on the level that you're talking about, how would you suggest to someone who might come to you and ask you that if they cannot relate to that?
If they can't relate to that, I can say fake it until you make it.
Oh.
Almost like saying, if you feel that you're totally unloved and that no one bigger cares about you and that there's not help for you along your path of life, and I love when you say hardwired, like you're plugged in, you're
Yeah,
plugged in.
that's what I feel.
Well, just trust me on this. Say that you just pretend you're plugged in and take on that thought form and align yourself to that perception, that belief, that truth, and see for the next 30 days as your life is unfolding for you, what seems to change on a daily basis when you've realigned yourself up with a positive thought, of a thought that, maybe there is someone who does love me and care about me and is going to help me out. Maybe this will go my way today and I can ask for a little direction and help in guiding me this way. And just test it out. I say test it because it's important for you to have your own reality and your own experience, not just hear mine, but have it for yourself. So if I say, just trust it, ask God to come into your life, ask God to work with you, ask God to help you, ask Him to show you the direction to bring in more abundance to your life in whatever way that is, you'll be surprised.
Yes, and I know that many times we've heard that in our lives with some kind of spiritual walk that we might have been in, whether it was organized religion or perhaps our own self, research on is there anything greater than I am and what is my purpose? I think everyone on this planet feels that way in some way or another. And many of us have abundance already and we take it for granted. For instance, on this little tiny third planet from the sun in our very small solar system, in this gigantic infinite universe, we're sitting here right now. And we're able to get to that level of thought. That really tells me that there is a higher power because we're just a dot. If this table were the universe, we would hardly be a dot from this pen, and it's out there, and we're here. So to me, that shows me that something greater than I and that I'm connected to is there. So that gives me the confidence. But sometimes I fall short. We use those words. We don't think about it. We kind of get stuck in our own little world. So you want to surround yourself with people who have those uplifting thoughts and have that trust. So you can tell them to, why don't you try it this week? Why don't you trust that something is coming your way? What you think is coming your way, what you want to come your way. And when you tell people that, if you could just sidestep for a moment, what do you do as a career, and how do you put this into perspective, giving that little comment to people and giving them that encouragement? So
Okay.
what is your career, and how do you bring this into it?
What is my career right now for myself or for
Yes,
them?
for you, and how do you bring in people?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Okay, I say God brings people into my life all the time. Just opportunities are presented to me, and I look at what's being presented and I say, how do I feel about this opportunity? Does this feel good to me? Does this feel right? Does this something that I resonate with this? And then I'll look at those opportunities and go, yes, I'm going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. And it just aligns, knowing that I go, the perfect plan's being laid out for me anyway. And I always find that the people that are sent to me, I have been exactly where they're at 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever, that I was saying the same thing that they are saying when we're sitting there talking, like, yeah, I used to feel like that. Yeah, I used to do that. Yeah, I used to think that. And I know now that it's like I've been aligned up perfectly with people that where they're stuck and how I got unstuck, we've been hooked together so that I can totally relate and identify with what they're going through and help shift them and pull them through.
Gee, that's really great. So do you do this as a profession?
Absolutely. I sit with people either on the phone or one-on-one, and we'll talk, and things will come through that session of prophetic nature, of intuitive nature, to help move them along. And they'll go, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly what I think. That's exactly what I know. We know truth. We all know truth. It lies within us. But very often, what we think to be true, we don't trust it. And by not trusting it, when you sit with someone like me, I'm not special, I'm the same as you, we're all, on the same playing field, is that when I don't know you, but I say something so personally and so deep and profound to you, it's like, oh, that's right on. How did you know that? And they're so impressed because I don't know you, but God knows you. So, but they knew this about themselves or knew this to be true anyway. But when I'm in the exchange, in the equation, it's like, oh, then I think he is listening. Or, oh, then he does know what is going on. And then you really realize you're not alone and there is someone in this bigger picture who's mindfully looking out for you.
So many times when you're doing this, you're telling that to the people also by your intuitive connection and your relationship spiritually or to the higher power. You're letting them know that you're getting that from that
source.
So you're trying to enlighten them by your example as well.
Yeah.
And so would you call these people your clients?
Yes, clients.
So what would your title be out there if anybody's interested in knowing what you do?
I just say,
you a life?
I'm an intuitive, I'm also a writer, I'm a teacher, and I'm a student. I'm always learning more all the time in life. And I always feel so honored and so blessed when I do work with someone, because I just feel like, aha, they've been sent into my life for a purpose. And my goal is to get them further along on their path so that they can heal, they can grow, they can soar, and have the most passionate life that they can have. I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to not want to get up another day. I know what it's like. I mean, I've lived and did all that in my past. Now it's like, no, not going there, not heading there. Past that, healed from that, moving forward on in my life. So,
how did you get your healing?
Prayer, study, books, prayer, workshops, sessions. I mean, I had to do a lot of internal healing, deep growth. there are healings that can take place like this
Right.
in an individual, and it's like, wow. And then there's healings that take place over a longer time frame. And I usually say that when it takes us longer to heal, it's kind of a good thing, because sometimes if we get it too fast, we don't retain it, we don't
Right.
hold on to it.
That's true.
But as we gradually grow and learn and grasp and take in all this knowledge, you don't go back, you don't forget, because it took you a lot of work to get there. And it's like, oh man, I'm here, I've arrived, I've gotten this, and I want to stay here.
And that's an exciting feeling,
Yeah,
isn't it?
really exciting.
When you actually do it and you come to that point. And I noticed, and you probably have too, that sometimes we have that in different points or different times in our lives, and sometimes we don't. And so if you're going through this being stuck, what would you suggest to somebody who might tell you about the abundance that they have, knowing it, and yet they're kind of stuck in a situation that might not be too good for them? For instance, in a relationship that isn't good.
Right.
But they have confidence, self-esteem, and peace and joy in other parts of their life,
Right.
and they feel in control, but in this one part, they don't. What makes that happen to people if they're abundant and yet falling away from the abundance? Do they do it themselves, or are they afraid? Is fear a big...
Well, I think some of it's also tied into what's your thoughts and perception on that. Are you coming from the place that you think, well, that's what a relationship's supposed to be like? Or are you coming from a place of, no, this is what a relationship should include?
Right.
So
Or
I think,
not
or
be.
not. So I think it's what you've been taught. It's what is familiar to you. It's what you know. It's what you witness to. And what you witness to often becomes truth for you. And you will act out and live that truth. But when you know that it doesn't feel right, this seems off, that's when there needs to be some real shifting, some real intimacy, some real heart-to-heart talks with that partner, with that person in your life, to see where are you going to go with this relationship? What can be changed in this relationship? How can this relationship improve? Maybe this isn't the relationship you're supposed to be in.
Right.
And we're here to learn, heal, and grow. And relationships are one of our biggest reasons for being here. Relationship with God, relationship with self, relationship with others.
Exactly.
So it is what your thought. And if your thought is that, no, love isn't good, and I'm always punished, and I don't deserve it, and you make 50 million excuses for that person, that's really not good, healthy, functional behavior.
Right, and I understand that. And we're talking about, when I say that, about people, because we have so many people in our lives. We have our parents, maybe we're parents. We had been children, maybe we have children. Maybe we were a sister, maybe we were an aunt. There's so many relationships, and yet all of this plays into living an abundant life, because they are in abundance in your life, the family and friends that you have. That's what I look at as my abundance.
For you as family and friends.
Right, and also the fact that I feel, that I'm safe in a way. I don't have the ups and downs of not, having finances come in. And that's, I think, a big thing that people think about when they think about abundance. How do you talk about this, the topic of finances, with your clients if they're in a financially stressful situation right now? How can you give them something to feel good about?
Well, a lot of times it'll be to pull through what their gifts are. And many of us, we all have a gift, more than one gift. Everyone is gifted. It's just, and I don't mean this out of, just out of a very humble way. So a lot of times it's pulling out, what is it within you that you're good at? What is it that you shine in doing? What is that people compliment about you? And very often when those gifts are brought out and talked about, it's like, okay, now how can we unroll these and turn this into a career for yourself? What can you do to make a livelihood from these gifts that God has given you and placed in your path? And they'll go, well, you know what? I thought about doing this, or I thought about starting that, or I thought about this. So usually when that's pulled out, it's like gets them to the next level, like, okay, I've always wanted to do that. Do you think it's going to work? And it's like, yeah, trust that it's going to work. Again, it's that trust. It's that surrender. It's that let go. It's just let it happen. Let it unfold for you the way that it should. And then just trust that it's always there. There's a passage of scripture about, even the birds in the field, don't worry where their food's coming from. And the animals, they just know it's going to be there. And it's the same mindset and the same thinking for us is to just trust, go, you know what? I'm not exactly sure where it's coming from. I don't have to know all the answers. God knows the answers, but I know it's coming. I know it's going to be there. But we are part of the process as far as figuring out, though, where is it that you'd like to head? What is it you'd like to do? And pulling in what unique skills you have and then going after those opportunities. And then let them come to you as well as you're exploring. Just see what unfolds and is being presented to you and take a look at that and go, oh, wow, that's kind of interesting. Oh, yeah, I think I might enjoy that type of thing. Not coming from desperation, not coming from being a victim, not coming from I have no choice, I'm forced, I have no choices.
But often we feel that way.
Right.
That we're in a box or it's not it doesn't give us as much flexibility.
Right.
So living an abundant life then, I think, and I'm in line with your thinking, that you do have to have faith in the unseen, that it's going to happen, and that would be with your faith in the higher power.
Right.
So whatever way you're thinking of it, you have to have it, or you're going to be, you're going to feel alone, or you're just going to feel that your journey is here for once and only once, and that when it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
I know people that think that way, and yet their lives are somewhat abundant, or maybe more abundant. Well, what their term is for abundant might be wealth.
Right.
So there's a lot of people that don't have a higher power connection, and yet they're very successful here.
Right.
So is it what?
Okay, but when you say they're very successful here, what are they deeply feeling, and are they truly peaceful, and are they happy, and are they joyful? Because money does not buy any of that.
Right.
So when we say abundance, I think it's really important for us to think, yes, we need to sustain financially. And yes, we need to have financial, we have financial responsibilities of things that we have to pay. But the abundance really is to me, is what is it in your life that you feel really great about? Now, it could be your career. I just love my job. I just love going to work. I'm so happy doing this. It just makes me just light up.
Yeah.
And that could be your definition of abundance for you. And I think you have to hone in on what is abundance to you. And it all ties into what is it that makes you feel joyful, peaceful, contented, safe, secure.
Yes, that's wonderful. So we all want that. And so people, when you're out there and you're thinking, think about your passions. So that brings us to your passions in life. Everyone has them. It might be music, it might be dance, it might be science or something. It might be cleaning, it might be art. It could be anything, but we should really have that passion and bring it into us as an abundant source.
Right, and I would like to share, Barbara, something. I think we all do have those passions, but some of us are so clueless to what it is that they're even passionate about. I did sit with someone just recently, and they have not one clue of what they enjoy doing.
How can that be?
And I think what it is we sometimes are so used to doing. We don't know how to just be. Just be. Be with yourself. Just be. Get to know yourself. Try some things. Experiment. You might be surprised that you might love playing golf, you might love playing tennis, you might love square dancing, because we are here to have fun, to be abundance in fun, abundance of life, that type of thing.
agree.
And I think a lot of people, we assume people know themselves. We assume that people know all these things. And I think a lot of people are just still seeking. They're just still seeking, like, I don't know what I like anymore. I don't know what's making me happy. I don't feel like I have anything. Well, why is that?
I don't
Why is
know.
that? What is the missing link that does not make you feel whole and complete and abundant in you here and now?
And what is that?
I think
Trust.
It's trust and inner work. It's really aligning yourself, feeling, you know what? I don't have to worry about tomorrow. That's going to take care of itself. I only have this moment. And in this
Yes.
moment, do I have exactly what I need? And if I don't, well then what is it that I need, and how can I have that come into my life? And if it's asking for help, if it's, whatever way of accessing
Right.
whatever it is that's missing at that moment, there's plenty of ways of reaching out. I also think that a lot of us don't like asking for help.
Right.
We're very proud. We're like, oh, I can't ask for help. I feel so uncomfortable doing that. And very often when we ask for help, there are people who are willing to participate and assist us and help us, and it makes them feel special too.
It does, yeah.
It's like, oh, I got to do this for them. I feel so good that I was able to do this.
And we all have done that.
yeah.
And you do that as your
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
And so what brought you to that career?
Just doing a total 365-degree turnaround in my life, blowing up and not being happy, and really just reassessing me, my life, where I am, and really getting to know myself, just getting to really know what makes me tick, what makes me soar, just getting to uncover me.
And I think that's what we all need to do. So there is a tipping point in all of our lives
Yes.
that it's a sign or a signal or a physical thing, mental thing, a thought or an action on somebody else's part that is a trigger point or a tipping point when we really need to figure ourselves out and look for that abundance that we already have
Right.
within us. So it's in the moment. We need to be here and not being already on tomorrow or next week, what I have to do, what do I have to accomplish. And so, Cindy, we have a wonderful day here again today with you, and I would like to thank you again.
Thank you.
And how can our viewers get a hold of you? Can you just...
Yep, you can go to my website, Sacred Grounds, and it's .b like boy, z like zebra, and you can go hook up there. It has my email, my phone, and all of my contact information.
Well, Cindy, thank you again for being with us, and we thank you for tuning into these days. And
Thank you.
we look forward to having you again, Cindy, and we hope that all of you are balanced and living an abundant life and continuing to do so in the moment. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.